imperative for him not to get caught underneath. So let's see how well he can defend against takedowns.
Outsized drastically by 42 pounds. Again, age unknown on Honma. 34-year-old Ron Waterman coming back from a bicep injury that had him sidelined for a few months. His bicep is healed. He tells us that he is at 100%.
Well, time will tell. Certainly he looks good. Good wrestler. Very, very powerful. He does have a size advantage, but the question is, skill-wise, what is he going to show us tonight?
Well, he has trained with some of the best here in Japan over the past few weeks, getting ready for this fight, and so he will have some fans in the audience tonight here in Tokyo. His opponent is Honma. You say that you think his submissions will be good. Again, some of these Japanese fighters are new to us as they are to the fans at home now. Despite the fact that he has strong submissions, he doesn't mind throwing.
No, it says right there he doesn't mind kneeing, trying to tie up with the man so that he can bring those knees to bear. Let's see exactly what he'll do. He'll probably be able to kick. I mean, Manoa brought that out of nowhere when he's caught Joe Slick in our previous fight.
Well, the last one, Waterman, Jeff, I'm sorry, the last one, Waterman went the distance, but the other two were quick strike fights, either against Andre the Chief Roberts or against Chris Kondo. So be interesting to see how this one starts. Heavyweight matchup, first of 3 5-minute rounds, the show of respect, and here we go.
Well, Honma is taking a wrestling stance here, which is a bit confusing. It's going to be hard to throw a punch from there. Even might be able to get a kick off from there, but sort of an odd stance.
Waterman has admitted that he doesn't know a whole lot about his opponent. Looks for a takedown, looks for a shoot here early. He does know that this young man gives away a lot of size, and that's one thing that Waterman wants to try to take advantage of. Side mount.
I'll tell you, he had his arm extended fully on Honma's chest, and Honma didn't go for an arm bar. And it looks like a neck crank here going by Waterman. See if he'll choke here, take his back and choke. Looked for it.
Waterman now with right hands. Waterman trying to overwhelm his opponent early. Those ones connected. Punches to the cheek. And now Waterman continues to try to overwhelm Honma here early.
Doesn't want to burn himself out, wants to be effective, not just chase and waste energy. Half guard, keeping Waterman from passing.
Waterman trying to strike from within the half guard of Honma. Waterman punches with the right, but they're being knocked down by the extended left arm of his opponent.
Some of those got through, but none of them with any real power. But he has that arm tied up of Honma, allowing him to go ahead and throw strikes at will.
If you have a situation where punches are not landing, it's not a good opportunity to try to land them because, well, there's a cut open on the left eye as I say that, Jeff. But as you said, if you're Ron Waterman, you don't want to punch yourself out on strikes that aren't scoring you any points.
Those are good.
Those
last 2, 3 were straight on.
Taking his back again.
He's got to be careful. They're right up against the fence.
Waterman's just teeing off now.
Should just get the hooks in and look for that choke.
Waterman is a wrestler by trade. He's wrestled for 25 years of his life. Can he finish in a non-wrestling position?
He's also headhunting. I mean, it's the side of Honma's wide open, and he can get some good ones right there in on the rib. Force him to make a decision on what he's going to do. Come on, let's go. I can't believe that he's choosing this as his defense. I'm surprised he hasn't rolled over and gone back to his guard.
Well, Waterman said in his training coming into this fight, there's a knee that he's been working more on his striking. And those 3 knees, 4 knees connecting to the head of Honma, and a 5th.
Got the hand up there for that one.
Waterman employing a variety of strikes that we have not seen him employ in his prior trips inside the gated and padded walls.
That was a page out of Tito Ortiz versus Guy Metzger. Inside cradle, knee to the head.
Now Waterman slips right out of an attempted choke.
I think he powered his way out of that choke. That seemed to have gotten on him, but he just muscled his way out.
He does consider himself very much like Mark Coleman, a ground and pound wrestler. Never had been to Japan prior to this trip. He is loving the opportunity to gain the exposure that he gets with this overseas adventure.
I don't know if he has quite the striking ability as a Mark Coleman. Coleman's punches are ferocious.
Yes. But the style is similar.
Yes, it is, very much so. Up against the fence, not a lot happening right now.
And in all fairness to Ron Waterman and Mark Coleman, Waterman a very good wrestler, Coleman a great wrestler.
Certainly was. Mark Coleman, truly an NCAA champion, an Olympian. He's done it all, world medalist.
So with all due respect to Ron Waterman, we compare styles, but perhaps not overall talent levels. But Waterman would like to take it there.
Absolutely.
There's no question that he's worked his tail off now that he has been a regular inside the octagon to get to the level and perhaps even succeed the level of success that Mark the Hammer Coleman enjoyed. But Mark the Hammer Coleman fizzled out at the end of his UFC career as he was defeated on multiple occasions.
I don't know if we've seen the last of Mark Coleman.
That'd be interesting. As I started to say that, I was thinking the same thing, partner.
Waterman now, let's see what he'll do to try to get inside, maybe take down Honma. Honma using knees here to pretty much keep Waterman at bay here this last minute.
Final seconds of the first round. Just another sidebar on Mark Coleman. Of course, his protege, Kevin Randleman, is our heavyweight champion. We'll see him against Pedro Hizzo on June 9th. Final seconds of the first round, and there's the bell. And a good round and a variety of different punches, knees, and strikes displayed by Ron Waterman.
Well, it was Honma that got that last punch in, and he moved away quite happy with himself for getting one in, but that round was Ron Waterman's. Between the takedown, the striking ability, some punches here, he tied up the right arm of Honma here, preventing him from really blocking this onslaught of punches to the right-hand side. And then he also employed some knees, got that nice inside cradle going, and then exposed the head right here. And once he locks up, here come the knees. Didn't have the full cradle locked, but has that position where he could have locked his hands if he wanted to. Honma took a little bit of punishment there.
Yeah, he sure did. And, you know, he looked okay at the end of the first round, too. Let's see how he comes out here in the second. Waterman definitely getting the edge in the first round. A glove adjustment being made. McCarthy gets both fighters set in their corner, and we're ready to get it on here in round number 2. Mike Goldberg, Jeff Blatnick, James Wormy with you from Yoyogi Gymnasium in Tokyo, Japan. UFC 25, middleweight title on the line later on tonight. Tito Ortiz, Vanderlei Silva.
I mean, Honma can't, it doesn't even look like, oh, nice kick by Honma there. Waterman shooting the double, but he's on his knees and crawling forward. I'm not sure that's the kind of penetration step he wants to employ when shooting a takedown. But it seems like neither one of them want to strike on their feet. None of them are boxing. None of them are reaching with a jab or throwing any kind of combination.
And it's interesting, in the breakdown of the fighting skills of Honma, it says that he doesn't mind being on his feet and striking. And Ron Waterman has trained a lot since his last appearance inside the octagon on his stand-up game. Honma motioning to John McCarthy that his glove has fallen off. And good recognition of McCarthy. Just a minor adjustment. Timeout on the floor, if you will. Just an equipment adjustment on Satoshi Honma.
Well, obviously you have to fix the glove. It's a danger to the opponent if the finger's sticking out and you get poked in the eye, or you having a tear in the glove, and the material can cause an abrasion on the eye. Safety factors that have to be considered.
Touch of gloves, show of class. Marks over the right eye of Honma.
I mean, they could be punching right there, and they choose not to. Both of these guys seem oriented to grappling.
Ron wrestled at the varsity level at the University of Northern Colorado. He is an high school art teacher now and is really enjoying his opportunity to showcase his skills inside the octagon. This is truly the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts. This is where the big boys play, and their playpen is this building and this creation within the building, the octagon. 3:08 remains in the second round.
Honma now with guard, defending against strikes. Oh, look at the leg. He had that set up earlier in the fight and didn't take it. once again, we see the Japanese very coy, very sly, not telegraphing what they want to do early in a fight. What's helping Waterman here is that fence. Honma can't extend, can't arch his back, and because he couldn't, Waterman eventually muscles out.
And that fence and brute strength, 40 pounds or so heavier than his opponent.
And that fence definitely helped Waterman in that instance. It prevented Honma from arching his back and extending, putting direct pressure on the joint. He was just hanging on there, couldn't really get the full hold.
But back in December of 1997 in a room at the hotel in which we were staying in Shin, Yokohama, you and Big John McCarthy taught me real quickly that it doesn't matter how strong you are, if your entire body is working against one of your opponent's limbs, that limb is going to lose the battle.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about that. An attempted triangle there, and unsuccessful. More knees by Waterman.
That was not a pleasurable afternoon for me, by the way. But thank you for
it's
the
never a
for the welcome.
Afternoon when I go with John McCarthy doing submissions.
Waterman now working again with the punches.
Oh,
there's a knee. Good knees tonight by Waterman.
They don't seem to really have an effect. We've seen other people knee just once, and it was lights out. And Waterman's connected with many punches, many knees.
Can this wrestler finish, though? He has his opponent's back, striking but not looking for any submission. But those will wear Honma down.
I almost wonder if you want to hang on with his left arm. The left arm's pinned against the fence, totally not being able to be brought into use. I would almost let go of the opponent and look to strike him there, and if he rolls over to the guard, big deal. It doesn't seem like you want to use the choke, and that's really the big weapon if you take a man's back.
Honma's showing me a little bit of Shiyoshi Kusaka here. TK, the heart of a lion, taking a lot of punishment, but not looking too worse for the wear.
No, and he keeps that open guard going.
I mean, he comes back quickly after eating 5 or 6 right hands from Ron Waterman and delivers a couple of blows back himself, and now from below with a guard position, he's striking with the knees.
The can opener. Waterman pulling on the head here. It's an artificial choke. And Honma now getting very active.
Honma staying busy, Jeff.
Yes, he is.
15 seconds remains in the second round.
But it's been all Waterman thus far. Honma with a couple attempts this period, but the story has been Waterman takedowns, punches, and knees.
Second round comes to conclusion.
And they both get up on their own power, make it back to the corner. Waterman looks a little tired, getting a little coaching. Let's take a look at some of that early action. Waterman in Honma's guard, looking to get some strikes going here. But it was Honma surprising Waterman and locking up, or attempting an armbar. Has it basically locked up, but the fence is in the way. He can't extend his back. He can't arch. And if he was allowed to do that, he could put a lot of pressure on the arm of Ron Waterman. Waterman stacking him up like this, keeps the pressure off his arm, and when he started the knee like that, broke the lock on that armbar.
Waterman has really enjoyed this trip to Tokyo. He worked out a little bit at the fabled Tokyo Dojo Peds Lab, located near the hotel in the Tokyo area, and rolled a little bit with Eugene Jackson, who we will see later on the card here tonight in a middleweight matchup against Kakuta. But this is the third and final round of our only heavyweight fight of the night, Honma and Waterman.
First 2 rounds belong to Waterman on my unofficial scorecard. But I think most viewers would agree Waterman has displayed more skill thus far, more scoring. Honma, you're right, doesn't look any worse for wear than that little abrasion on the left temple. And you can see neither one of these fighters want to employ their hands while they're standing. They're up, they're in a defensive posture for boxing, but there is no offense whatsoever. Looks like they both enjoy the grappling. Who knows, maybe there's a leg kick looming here very soon, as we saw in an earlier fight.
Waterman showing a little bit of southpaw here, and he is a right-handed fighter, so I don't know if he's trying to prove anything or if it's more a defensive tactic, but then he slips a right jab in that glances across the jaw, never really connecting with his opponent, Honma. Just underway here in the third round, 1 minute and 20 seconds, and they're both on their feet. Neither have tried to do too much.
I don't see a lot of bounce left in Ron Waterman's legs. No snap. He's stepping, and the steps are slow, and his feet are staying on the ground. No snap.
And if a quick kick comes towards the lower leg, you have to take the leg with the kick. You don't want to go down, but you don't want to have it firmly planted, because then it delivers a much bigger snap.
Yeah, you want to get the weight off of it.
That's right. We saw in Japan Maurice Smith use kicks effectively in his fight back in December of '97. And I remember the welts he put on the leg of Tank Abbott in their matchup.
Well, there was a beautiful double leg takedown by Waterman. Touched his knee, but he was on the hips immediately. Good follow through, taking Honma down to the ground. It seems as though Waterman's really in control with this style against Honma. Honma really needs to come up with some kind of a tactic, something he hasn't shown. Did try a few heel kicks there, it seemed, towards Waterman. McCarthy right there to stop him from using a kick to a down fighter.
Ron Waterman saying to John McCarthy that his opponent had a hold of his glove. John breaks that up real quickly.
That is a rule. For those who may have missed the last show, the glove is a mandatory piece of equipment, thus we don't let you grab just the material of the glove. Otherwise, it can cause the glove to tear, then it becomes a safety problem.
Under 2 minutes now remaining in the match. Waterman in control of his opponent Honma, trying to up his record to 2-1-1. This a very important night in the UFC fighting career of Ron Waterman. We're still trying to figure out how talented this young man is.
No, physically has all the talent in the world. In terms of mixed martial arts skills, those 4 skill sets, he's got pretty good takedowns, but it's apparent on his feet he didn't even want to strike, that his striking skills may lack a little bit. He's not bad at ground and pound, but his punches, I don't think, carry the same kind of velocity as some of the other heavyweights. So continue training, a little bit more experience. Maybe he'll turn the corner and be challenging for that heavyweight title. Well,
hard work and God, a combination of both, have blessed him with the physical skills, as you talked about, and that's a big part of it. And he's shown a variety of strikes here. You know, he's not striking, he's not going toe-to-toe, he's not stand-up, but yet now he's using the combinations rib, 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 head. Rib, head, head, rib. A lot more tactically sound than maybe the Ron Waterman we saw against Tim Lacey.
Well, there's the same kind of tactic there. Body then the head, body then the head. He might want to do it in a little bit more of a combination fashion, where he takes a rest for 5 seconds, gathering, then unloads a combination, then stabilize again. Ron seems to keep the same pace and just keeps punching, and that can become a little bit predictable. If he changes his speeds, if you will, like a pitcher, I think that can all of a sudden make him seem much more explosive, much more powerful. But if you methodically approach it in a monotone way, then it gets predictable. And I think then you lose a little bit because the opponent knows the punch is coming.
Well, if you're asking me to predict the outcome of this fight, I am going to say that Ron Waterman will be victorious tonight here in Tokyo.
Well, he certainly fought a good fight. He controlled his opponent. He was able to take him down. He was able to ground and pound. Also some very good knees in there. So a good fight for Ron Waterman. Let's see if the judges agree.
Well, the ground and pound took place in all 3 rounds. Let's take a look at some of his ground and pound tactics back from round number 1, partner.
Well, he certainly employed them throughout the fight. It's a success for him. He understands that's a good position for him, particularly because he didn't have a lot of experience, meaning you don't pass the guard very well. So you're willing to stay in that guard and throw strikes from there.
25対30。ジャッジ梅木26対30。ジャッジトニー・ムリナックス26対30。以上の結果3対0でブルーコーナーロン・ウォーターマンの判定勝ちです。
Ron Waterman gets the decision the win over Satoshi Honma.